What's going on? A pluses, nerd mixes. It is your boy Indy Uchiha. And before we get started with this flash review, I just want to let you know that A Plus Hero Report does have a Patreon. Go ahead and join and show your support so we're able to build the channel and bring you guys more and better content. There's a bunch of stuff on there like access to Discord only for Patreon members. You get news and reviews that are located only for Patreon members. You get Sentai reviews, you get character breakdowns, you get audio versions of everything. It's just a real cool thing. Come and check it out. We got $1, $5, and $10 tiers. And just to let you guys know, we will have a character breakdown of Bart Allen up this weekend. And the reason being why we're going to have a character breakdown of Bart Allen is because, as this Variety article says right here, yo, we do have an amazing casting for Bart Allen. That's right. As it says right here at variety.com, Jordan Fisher has been cast as the CW in the CW's The Flash in the recurring guest role of Bart Allen, aka Impulse. Fisher's first appearance will be in the series' 150th episode, which is the 17th episode of season 7 of the long-running DC superhero drama. As fans of The Flash already know, Bart is the future son of Barry, aka The Flash, and Iris, and is said to be the fastest teenager on the planet. Now, I'm pretty sure in the comics, that's Barry's grandson, but I'm just happy to have Impulse there, so I'm not worried about it. However, due to his pitch it for wildness, impulsive behavior, Barry and Iris will have their hands full trying to teach him patience, which will be a necessity if they want to succeed, not only as a family unit, but also in stopping the biggest threat to Flash yet. Fisher himself is an actor, producer, musician, and dancer who has credits that spans big and small screen on and the Broadway stage. On stage, he's portrayed the title character in Dear Evan Hansen, as well as John Lauren Phillips Hamilton in Hamilton. While on screen, he has starred into All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You for Netflix, appeared in Teen Wolf, I remember him from Teen Wolf on MTV, The Secret Life of an American Teenager, remember him from that too, for then cable and ABC Family, the Teen Beach franchise for Disney Channel, and then his voice to the animated series She-Ra and the Princess of Power. Combining his stage and screen talents, he's also starred in 2 live TV musicals, Grease Live and Rent Live. Both I've watched and readily enjoyed, both on Fox, and competed in ABC's Dancing with the Stars. In addition to The Flash, Fisher will appear in the feature film Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between, which will also be he will also executive produce. That is amazing, guys. Clearly amazing, and I honestly can't wait to see what he does in the role. But with further ado, let's get into this review. That's right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, A pluses, nerd mixes everywhere. Just like we did for Batwoman a week ago, we have a double review to catch up because my lazy self got behind. No, it wasn't because of laziness. I had a lot to do with the album dropping, which is out right now. You can check it out on SoundCloud. Just search TCB Records. Indy Uchiha Hits is out. It'll be live on Spotify, Apple Music, and everything in the next couple of days. So keep a lookout on that. Bump them numbers up. But no, because of everything that went on, I decided to go ahead and do a double review of The Flash to cover episodes 4 and 5. So episode 4, Central City Strong, and episode 5, Fear Me, introduced 2 bad A characters, and I love the fact that one of the things that's been wrong with The Flash as of late, especially in later seasons, is that it seems like like the villain table. You know what I'm saying? Like his rogues gallery couldn't keep up with what he was doing. He was just too OP for the rogues gallery. So they bring back Kadabra. That's his name, right? Abracadabra. They bring back Kadabra, who is super powered from the future. So he has more abilities, better abilities, and he's coming back for revenge because of what happened with Crisis. And Kadabra was happy, living with a family, and everything that's going on with that. And it was kind of amazing that because of what happened with Crisis, that was actually taken from him. And he ended up remembering what was going on and came back to get revenge on Flash by taking away what was most important to him, Central City, and those he loved. So he built like this bomb, this black hole bomb, was going to blow up the city. And Flash was able to do what he needed to do in order to. It was a really, really simple episode. It also, to be honest with you, before we get into that, it had a lot of stuff that actually took some of my negativity away from Iris because she's dealing with coming back from the Mirrorverse, and in the kind of blip scenario like we see what's going on over in Marvel and everybody that's coming back after what happened between Infinity War and Endgame. um they're dealing with being in this Mirrorverse, and with Iris, one of the ones who's being there the longest, she's having problems dealing with it, and she's listening to stories of people who watch their loved ones be with other people. When she's having flashbacks of Barry being with the fake Iris and stuff like that, and just dealing with that. I wish they would have dwelled on that a little bit longer. Maybe broke down her character, humanized it a little bit more. Even though she is human, I just feel like her character's poorly written to the fact to be able to make a connection with that character that she just used as a prop for Barry to push him forward. And so it was kind of good seeing her go through that. I really haven't felt this connection to that character in particular since the whole thing about Salvatore trying to kill her. You know what I'm saying? Or her counting down her days to her death and all that is the last time I really felt a connection to this character. So in these two episodes we had here, seeing Iris get back to Iris, it was very interesting, you know what I'm saying, to me on what was going on that forefront and her character build. At the same time, you got things going on that they're foreshadowing what's going to happen with Killer Frost and her having her headaches and stuff like that. And you get Kadabra drop a mecha vibe, you know what I'm saying, thing. Oh, vibe's already mecha. So giving hints to what actually is happening in the future and watching these episodes, and especially with the news of the Bart Allen thing that we had later, we feel that the future is going to have a lot to play with what's going on with this season. So I'm very interested in seeing what happened. But that episode is short. To me, really wasn't a good episode, to be totally honest with you. But Kadabra and what he was doing was very interesting. His driving force for coming back and doing what he was doing was basic but interesting. The character himself and the actor who played him is amazing. So I look forward to seeing more of him, hopefully in the future. Maybe we get a team up with Flash and villains to stop a big bad. That would be interesting for me to see. And they do have hints all the time of Ralph being overseas handling stuff. So they're still keeping that character afloat, but we know what happened with that. And having to write the character off and possibly being recast and having them come back, it'll be good because I think Sue and Ralph have a lot, a big. They became loving characters. The characters themselves, not necessarily the actor, but the characters themselves, we became attached to, and I'm looking forward in order to see them. You know what I'm saying? Again, whether he's recast or if I don't care if they recast him every week, he has a different face. Don't matter to me. He got burnt to a crisp. But Barry's able to use that amazing Naruto talk no jutsu and talk Kadabra down, tell him he relates to what he's going through, tell him how he lost a friend in Oliver Queen, and able to talk about it. And then this beast thing shows up, right? Like this Incredible Hulk, this She-Hulk, you know what I'm saying, style thing that Cisco ends up dubbing Fruza. I cannot pronounce stuff in Spanish, but you know it means strength in Spanish. So I'm just gonna call it the strong thing. I kind of see this was what this is leading to. I had one of you guys in the comments before tell me about the Force. You know, I like the Force trials. That is one of my favorite comics. I didn't think that's something that they would start right now, but it looks pretty interesting in the way that they're portraying it. So it's like the trial. I'm trying to remember how to really explain this. It's different forces, right? Well, and I think that's what they're going with as far as what this episode is going to do with the big bads that end up, because you ended up having the Speed Force pop up and ask for Barry's help. So it's pretty interesting what is going to happen with that as the Speed Force hasn't materialized. But you know what I'm saying? It's let's to do that, let me break down the history of the different types of forces and the crisis injuries and stuff like that. Um, there's 7 forces in the universe. Primordial cosmic energies that all multiverses in the void spring from. Born from a source, are pulled together by unseen hand. These energies gather around 2 poles: anti-crisis energy and crisis energy, right? As opposing pole reside the darker cousins born from fear and anger in all living beings. The crisis energy, also known as 7 hidden forces of creation. All right, each of these 7 energies of creation represents something which each member of the Legion of Doom sought all their lives. Among them, Steel Force is sought out by Gorilla Grodd. The Visible Spectrum is sought out by Sinestro. The Tier of Extinction, Black Manta. The Black Apple by Brainiac. The Void Wind by Cheetah. Although they're not part of the 7 hidden forces, the anti-life equation and chaos magic are also considered crisis energy forces. Now, there's interpretations. We know that the Flash is the Speed Force. There's a Steel Force, also the you know what I'm saying, kind of like the Speed Force. Speed Force is part of harmonious forces. I gotta write better. And in the energy that gives the universe motions and grants the Flash family and all the speedsters their powers is based off velocity and movement. The Steel Force is the opposite of the Speed Force and is a cosmic based force around inertia, capable to negate motion, and can basically barring the potential to induce or accelerate. So it literally just stops the Speed Force. You have the emotional spectrum or the invisible spectrum. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that gives you like feelings, emotions, grants the Lana Corpse their power that's fueled by rage, will, hope, compassion, love, which eat the motion its own emotional entities such as Butcher, Ophidian, Parallax, Ion. You know what I'm saying? Outside the known colors of the emotional spectrum, there's an invisible spectrum opposite to the emotional spectrum that includes ultraviolet, which feeds on buried primordial emotions, especially hatred. The invisible spectrum is part of the 7 hidden forces. And like its counterpart, the invisible has its own emotional entity called Umbrax. You have the tier of extinction, right? Which is harmonious with all the cosmic forces of life. That's the life force. Is how things flourish. Is wielded by like Aquaman, Poseidon. But the tier of extinction is the opposite to the life force, right? It's a cosmic force that brings death to any being, even gods. You could be immortal and it could still bring death to a god and sends them to the graveyard of the gods. The tier is the drive towards isolation and is connected to the death force. The tier of extinction is part of the 7 hidden forces, right? So there's a good and a bad for all of these. You have the void wind and the spirit of gods. The spirit of gods is part of the 7 harmonious forces. And it's the cosmic force that gives the universe magic and grants the gods their godlike abilities, right? That's how the new gods other pantheons like the gods of Olympus, angels, demons. That's how they all wield that power on multiversal singularities. The void wind, opposite of the spirit gods, and the twin force of the tear of extinction is a cosmic force that snuffs out magic and gods and is derived from the harsh winds that blows from the graveyard of gods. The void wind is part of the 7 hidden forces. The 6th note, opposite of dimensional superstructure, is the cosmic force behind imagination, and it's unlocked when the impossible is glimpsed. You have the black apple. The black apple is opposite of the collective unconscious, is a force around forbidden knowledges. You have the faithlessness, right? The faithlessness is the dark counterpart to faith. It is based on faith people have in doom and relies on the evil within people's hearts and their selfish and cruel nature, and is unlocked when people lose faith, when the faith one possesses is gone. And like they don't, the faith in their loved ones just leaves. It's nuts, yo. It is nuts how this ties into everything that goes on. But we have in this episode a villain called Psych. At the end of the last episode, at the end of everything that happened in Central City Strong, you end up with this who I believe is the person who's in possession of the Strength Force. Attack Barry, like dwarf that black hole bomb, that black atom bomb, take it into herself, dwarfed Barry's speed force lightning. They couldn't do anything. And they ended up naming her the Spanish name for strength in this episode. And the villain of this episode that we had, which is Psych, who controls fear, is and the fear that he controls and he's able to spit out reminds me a lot of the invisible spectrum, right? And someone that you have like Barry and Iris's mother, Cecile, her powers work on the emotional spectrum. So that's very, very interesting to me. But it makes me wonder if each individual member of the team is going to have something to counteract one of these things that are going to be introduced. Because if we look at the end of episode 3, when that lightning flashes out at the top, when Barry's getting his speed force back, right? It really makes me feel like you're going to have the 7 forces that we're going to see them, because we've already seen the strength force. If you look at Psych could have something to do with, you know what I'm saying, the opposite force of what's going on and what we're talking about, like that invisible spectrum. So I'm wondering exactly what we're going to see when it comes to this. But this character and the way these villains are being played is very, very interesting to me. And I'm just wondering how they're going to play this, if every episode or every couple of episodes is going to give us another villain wielding, you know what I'm saying, one of these abilities that Barry has to learn how to get around. Because we have seen somebody, I can't remember what season it was, somebody who controlled a similar type of still force, you know what I'm saying, that made everybody still. It just not is not on my head. It's been so many episodes of The Flash, but I remember him being able to slow everybody to a crawl, like they called him Turtle or something like that. So I'm wondering what's happening with that. But in this episode, you got Killer Frost and, you know what I'm saying, Katie splitting apart. They explained it by the gun they got blasted by, that it was Tech in the gun that was able to split the two of them apart. And then you have the ensuing conversation on how Killer Frost wants to be able to live her life as her life and not live half a life, which was an interesting story perspective from them. But at the same time, you have this officer coming from the government who is trying to arrest her. Um, so that's going to be an interesting story tweak around that, just to give Killer Frost something to do. I feel like she should have been forgiven because of everything that she did, and she wasn't in her right mind or under her proper control when she was doing what was going on. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have humanity as Killer Frost. So, but them splitting them apart, it could possibly be a way to take Killer Frost out of the situation, but still leave Caitlin Snow because now they're split. Um, this villain just made fear uncontrollable, like just pushed it on you. It made Barry relive the Reverse Flash and Savitar. Even the fear is so strong that when Savitar stabbed Barry, that his body made him think that he really got injured, and you saw him just bleeding from his chest when, you know what I'm saying, he got stabbed by a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? A figment of his imagination felt so real that his body reacted. The key to solving all of this was Cecile, who they led up to this in an earlier episode with her projecting her fear onto somebody else in order to try to stop Eva, right? So they end up putting her in the thinker's chair to amplify her ability, and she ends up being able to use her powers in a very similar way that Psych was using his. So that's what makes me feel like a member or different members that they're going to get with will have the opposite affect the battle, the effects they're going up against. So maybe Barry isn't the best match for the Strength Force, but maybe he's the best match for the Steel Force. You know what I'm saying? In that type of situation. So this episode had a interesting dichotomy of a bunch of things going on at one time. But the villain was super dope. And I like the mask. A lot of people didn't like the mask. We didn't get his reasoning, you know what I'm saying, for coming back, or if he came from the future for doing what he do. But they did say that an isotope that resonated off of Forza was resonating off of Psych as well. So that's what makes me think that connection of them, you know what I'm saying, maybe being the Strength Force and, you know what I'm saying, the other force is what may be that connection, or maybe it's just somebody who's able to tap into that ability the same way that Aquaman and all of them are able to tap into the other side. You know what I'm saying? With those abilities and use them. They're not the ability to itself or the bearers or the champions of that, you know what I'm saying, specific force, but they're able to tap into it to use their abilities in a similar way that Barry is able to tap into the Speed Force. The Speed Force is there. Barry ends up having to go into the cooling thing to calm down, to heal, and the Speed Force says she's been attacked by multiple people, and that's the second one that attacked her. So I want to know the reason that they're attacking the Speed Force. Their reasoning. I know the reasoning in the comic books, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens, because even in like the Flash number 54, Barry Allen ends up using the Strength Force to become the strongest man alive. But you know, there's more power in them than just that. So I'm gonna be curious to see if with the hints they had of different characters and stuff like that, if we can get like a source wall broken like it was in Dark Knight Metal, to get new characteristics coming in, especially the stuff that happened after the Flash War, because that's what I feel like we're getting ready to get. Like Hunter Solomon revealed the existence of the forces in the Flash War, leaving Barry to open an investigation to try to learn their origins. Commander Cold and people joined him to help in. Wally West broke time, you know what I'm saying, did things and what was going to happen. But with the Strength Force coursing through his body, the Flash finds himself looking like an oversized pro wrestler on steroids. Commander Code and Warner Wolf only see Flash and Trickster's potential threats, especially because the Strength Force is an unknown entity. Flash is an expert when it comes to the Speed Force, but he's left to uncover the secrets of the Strength Force through an impressive display of trial and error. So this is something where the Flash ends up. Let me bring this up so y'all can see this. Where the Flash ends up being able to wield the other forces like this. I don't know exactly where they're going to, you know what I'm saying, go with this, but something like this is very, very interesting to me, and the concepts that they can go into, especially to, you know what I'm saying, freshen up what's been going on with the Flash. So if they're gonna stick to what's going on in the comics, or they're just gonna write it to be something new, I'm gonna be very interested to see in how they handle that. Now, these two episodes standing alone by themselves, to me, weren't that entertaining. Interesting, but not that entertaining. But watching them back to back, and then trying to figure out exactly where they're going with something, is what intrigued me and made me actually enjoy what I've seen in the Flash for so long. Because they're going into the Flash Wars or anything like that, man, I'm hoping they could do it right in the time frame they have. Like, give us the 8 episodes to set it up, and then give us the whole back half of the season to conclude everything. Don't drag us on. Let's see what they do, though. What they do. What did you guys think about this episode? I dug it. What do you think about the concepts and everything they got going on? How do you think they're going to handle, if they're going with this concept, how do you think they're going to handle a concept this big? I will break down the forces and get more in depth to the characters who represent them, and the characters you're probably going to be seeing popping up on this episode. I mean, in the series The Flash, on Patreon. That's right. So show your support. Join Patreon. $1, $5, $10 tiers. Especially if you want to get into that and come talk with us in the Discord about everything that's going on with that. We're going to be in there doing that big, because this seems like a big thing coming to the Flash, and it may revitalize the series and for us as a fandom. So guys, again, follow us at A Plus Opinions, all up there. Don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. You can follow me everywhere at Nerd Mix Alpha, and stream my music everywhere. Indie Uchiha. The album is up on SoundCloud right now. It should be up on Apple Music, Spotify, and everywhere else within the next 2 days. By Friday, I know for sure. So make sure you guys go check that out. Go check out Hits. It features y'all favorite person on the planet, Adam Perez. Yes, he is. Adam is featured on a song called Black Luxury. So make sure you guys go check that out. And until next time, as always, this is Indie Uchiha. Keep it A+. This has been a Nerd Mix. Indie out.